Hi, I'm Mike, but most folks call me Big Mike. I've had that nickname forever, and honestly, I didn't mind it. I've always been the big, friendly guy people wanted at their parties. But things changed when I reached 130 kilograms. I started feeling more than just big. I felt stuck in a body that was slowly wearing me down. The moment I realized things needed to change was at my cousin's wedding. It was a beautiful day, the sun shining brightly, and laughter filling the air. I joined in the celebration, greeting relatives and catching up with old friends. As the festivities continued, I found myself chatting with distant cousins and sharing stories of the past. Eventually, we all gathered for the wedding feast, and I took a seat at one of the tables, eager to indulge in the delicious food. But as I settled into the chair, there was a sudden creaking sound, followed by a loud crack. Before I knew it, the chair beneath me gave way, and I crashed to the floor in a heap of embarrassment. The room fell silent, all eyes turning towards me as I struggled to pick myself up. I could feel the heat rising in my cheeks as whispers and murmurs filled the air. I tried to laugh it off, pretending that I was fine, but inside, I was mortified. The day after the embarrassing chair incident at my cousin's wedding, I went to see my doctor for a checkup, feeling both nervous and determined. Sitting in the waiting room, surrounded by the quiet buzz of fluorescent lights and the smell of cleaning products, my mind raced with thoughts about what the doctor might say. Would he be upset with me for letting things get this far? Or would he offer me some encouragement? Finally, it was my turn to go in, and I walked into the examination room. The doctor greeted me with a smile, but it quickly disappeared as he looked over my test results. The expression on his face told me everything I needed to know. My health was getting worse quickly, with risks of diabetes, heart disease, and other serious problems. It was scary to hear, realizing that it wasn't just about being overweight anymore, it was about my life. Listening to the doctor explain the seriousness of the situation was tough. Every word felt heavy, but there was also a glimmer of hope. I knew I couldn't keep living like this, trapped in a body that wasn't working right. That's when I made up my mind. I had to fight for my health. Leaving the doctor's office, I felt determined to make a change. It was time to take control of my life and get healthy again. With that determination pushing me forward, I set a big goal for myself to lose 60 kilograms in just 5 months. It was a big goal, but I was ready to work hard and make it happen. The beginning of my journey was really tough. I made some big changes to my diet, like swapping my favorite burgers for salads and soda for water. It was hard to give up those old comfort foods, and my body definitely felt the difference. Every part of me seemed to resist this new way of living, and it took a lot of willpower to stick with it. But it wasn't just the physical challenges. My own mind turned against me, whispering doubts and fears every step of the way. "You can't do this," it would say. "You'll just fail like you always do." Fighting those inner demons was tougher than any physical exercise. Luckily, I wasn't alone in this journey. My best friend Alex stood by my side every step of the way. He wasn't just a workout buddy, he was my biggest supporter and cheerleader. Together, we faced the challenges of swapping burgers for salads and soda for water. Alex made those endless salad dinners bearable with his contagious optimism and unwavering belief in my ability to succeed. His encouraging words became a mantra that echoed in my mind, pushing me forward even on the toughest days. And then there was Jamie, my personal trainer. When we first met, I could tell she was serious about helping me. She didn't waste time and always worked hard to make me do my best. During our tough training sessions, Jamie encouraged me to keep going. She often said, "Every bit of sweat gets you closer to your goal," which gave me hope when I was tired. I held onto her words like they were my guide, feeling stronger because she believed in me. The first 10 kilograms felt like an eternity, but when I finally hit that milestone, the sense of achievement was indescribable. I had started at 130, and now I was down to 120. It was a small victory, but it was mine. The journey was far from over, but for the first time, I believed I could actually do this. With Jamie's encouragement ringing in my ears, I felt a renewed sense of determination to keep pushing forward, one step at a time. That's just the beginning, though. The road ahead was filled with more challenges and setbacks than I could have imagined. But also, moments of triumph and support from unexpected places. Stick around, and I'll tell you all about it. Having lost the first 10 kilograms, I felt more determined than ever. It felt like overcoming that first challenge had given me a boost of confidence and cleared away some of the doubts in my head. But let's be honest, this journey wasn't easy by any means. Adjusting to this new lifestyle was like learning to walk all over again, but this time, with a constant ache in muscles I didn't even know I had. My eating habits changed completely from the oily, satisfying foods I used to enjoy. Now, it was all about vegetables, proteins, and drinking more water than I ever thought possible. And you know what? Wanting pizza while eating a carrot? That's a unique kind of challenge. The gym became my second home, and Jamie, my trainer, didn't cut me any slack and didn't go easy on me. "Come on, Mike. Push it," she'd yell, as I tried to lift weights that felt too heavy. But with every effort and drop of sweat, I knew I was getting nearer to my goal. Yet, it wasn't just the physical challenge. My mind was a battlefield, with my inner voice always tempting me with thoughts of junk food and relaxing Sundays. The urge to give in was strong. "Just one burger won't do any harm," that sneaky voice would say. But I knew better. One burger would lead to another, and before I knew it, I'd be back to square one. But every hero has their sidekick, their faithful partner in the journey, right? For me, it was Alex. He was more than just a friend, he was my lifeline, my pillar of support. When I was close to caving and felt like giving up, he was there, not just with words of encouragement but also with actions. He changed his usual Friday night routine to join me at the gym, filled his fridge with healthy foods for when I came over, and even started sending me those inspiring quotes you often see on social media. Cheesy? Maybe. But effective. One evening, after a really tough workout, Alex and I sat on the gym steps, drinking water like it was the last drop on earth. That's when he said something that really made me think. "Mike, it's not just about losing the weight, man. It's about gaining your life back." And he was right. It wasn't just about changing how I looked, it was about rediscovering a part of myself that I had let slip away while I was busy making excuses and eating for comfort. As the weeks passed by, the numbers on the scale started to go down, but very gradually. Losing each kilogram felt like a big win, and each setback was a lesson learned. This journey wasn't just about my body, it was also about my mind, maybe even more. It was about changing the way I thought about food, exercise, and, most importantly, myself. The milestone of losing 20 kilograms was within reach, and I was more determined than ever. But as anyone who has tried to change their life will tell you, it's never a straight path. There were days when I felt really strong, like I could do anything, and other days when I could barely find the strength to get out of bed. One specific challenge arose during a family barbecue. Surrounded by all my favorite foods, the tempting aroma of cooking meat made it difficult to resist. However, as I looked around at my family, laughing and enjoying the day, I realized that the true source of joy wasn't the food, it was the company, the love, and the shared moments we experienced together. With that epiphany, I approached the rest of the barbecue in a new way. I loaded my plate with salads and grilled veggies, and you know what? It wasn't just satisfying, it was delicious in a way I hadn't permitted myself to recognize before. When I reached the point of losing 20 kilograms, it was full of hard work, moments of frustration, and times when I really wanted to eat something I shouldn't. But it also brought the realization that I was capable of so much more than I'd ever given myself credit for. Reaching that milestone of losing 20 kilograms was a big moment for me. It seemed like I didn't just lose weight, but also left behind doubts about getting healthier. But like experienced explorers say, the middle part of the journey is usually the hardest, and mine was no exception. My schedule was fixed, and everything I did focused on preparing meals, exercising, and fighting against my inner doubts, which were trying hard to stop me. "You've done enough, Mike. Take a break," it whispered during my weakest moments. But I'd come too far to listen to that voice now. The gym sessions with Jamie became more intense as she introduced new exercises that seemed tailored for Olympic athletes, not someone like me who was just happy to have lost 20 kilograms, feeling as if I had won a marathon. Despite the challenge, every time I sweated and felt my muscles ache, I sensed that I was becoming stronger and more energetic. Then there was Alex, always a reliable friend. He started studying nutrition and exercise, inventing new recipes that made healthy eating seem more enjoyable. We experimented with quinoa, kale, and other superfoods that I had previously ignored. Some meals turned out really well, while others, well, they taught us something new. The ultimate challenge happened when my sister's birthday approached. A family event with all my beloved dishes, like creamy pastas and rich cakes, was coming up. Just thinking about it made me hungry and tempted to give in. It wasn't a physical battle but a mental and emotional struggle of determination. I wish I could say I met it with strong determination, but that wouldn't be true. I hesitated, almost giving up. It was Alex who helped me stay on track, not by scolding me, but by doing something thoughtful. He brought a healthier chocolate cake so I wouldn't feel excluded. That cake wasn't just a treat, it represented the encouragement that kept me going, the kind that helped me through this journey. Every day, I could see more and more changes happening. Not just in how much I weighed, but in how my clothes fit, how I moved, and how I looked at myself in the mirror. I was turning into a different person, someone healthier, stronger, and more confident. The next milestone was the 30-kilogram mark, and as it approached, I felt a mix of excitement and fear. Losing weight was one thing, but maintaining that loss, continuing the journey despite the temptations and obstacles was another challenge altogether. I tackled it the only way I knew how, one step at a time. With Jamie's guidance, I intensified my workouts, pushing my limits further than I thought possible. With Alex by my side, I went through social occasions and family gatherings with a new perspective, focusing on the joy of the company rather than the food. And then, one ordinary Tuesday morning, I stepped on the scale, the numbers rolled, and there it was, 30 kilograms gone. The feeling was indescribable, a mix of triumph, relief, and a bit of disbelief. I'd done it, but not alone. This victory belonged to Jamie, to Alex, and to every person who'd offered a word of encouragement along the way. As I celebrated this milestone, I knew that the path ahead was still full of challenges. There were more obstacles and temptations to face. However, with every move forward, every kilogram lost, and every struggle I conquered, I became stronger. I was gaining speed, not just in losing weight, but in building a new life, a healthier, happier life. And with this speed, I felt like nothing could stand in my way. The next part of my adventure was waiting, and I was ready to face it directly, with determination, support, and a heart full of gratitude for how far I'd come. Reaching the halfway point of my journey was a surreal moment and felt strange. Standing on the scale, watching it display a number 30 kilograms lighter than where I began, was both exhilarating and daunting. I was halfway to my goal, yet the path ahead seemed just as long as the one behind me. This part of the journey brought an interesting mix of confidence and feeling too comfortable. The changes in my body were clear to see. Clothes that used to be tight now felt loose, and when I saw my reflection in shop windows, I noticed a thinner me. People kept giving me compliments, which made me feel good about myself, but also made me want to relax and not try so hard. Jamie noticed the shift in my attitude, so she made our workouts even more challenging. Progress isn't just about losing weight, Mike. It's about creating a way of life, she said. Her words were like a rope, stopping me from becoming too comfortable. Meanwhile, Alex remained the hidden hero in my story. His constant encouragement, usually accompanied by jokes and friendly banter, helped me stay level-headed. "Don't get too skinny on me now, I'll need your help moving my couch next week," he'd jest, but his laughter carried the real meaning. This journey was about well-being, not just numbers on a scale. It was during this time that I met Sarah. She worked at the local bookstore, a place I'd started frequenting not just for its collection but also for the peaceful atmosphere it offered, breaking the monotony of my structured life. Our early chats were simple, discussing book suggestions and the weather. However, there was a hidden sense of something deeper, a bond that extended beyond just polite conversation. Sarah, with her keen interest in literature and quiet strength, became a new source of motivation. The thought of asking her out lingered in my mind, pushing me forward on days when the old temptations crept back in. But as my physical transformation continued, so did the mental and emotional challenges. I worried about whether I could stick to this healthier lifestyle even after reaching my goal. The fear of reverting to old habits and disappointing not only myself but also those who had supported me was always on my mind, like a constant shadow. The milestone of reaching 40 kilograms less was getting closer, reminding me of how serious the journey was and the big changes it needed. The closer I got, the more intense the internal battles became. The old me, who used to feel better with food and lazy routines, clashed with the new me, who felt happy when moving and strong with self-control. It was during a particularly tough workout, as I struggled to complete the last set of an exercise that seemed designed to break me, that I experienced a moment of clarity. Each drop of sweat, each moment of breathlessness, was a testament to my strength, not just physically but mentally and emotionally. I wasn't only getting rid of extra weight, I was getting rid of years of not believing in myself and feeling unsure. With each passing day, I was showing myself that I could do much more than I thought I could. When I reached the 40-kilogram mark, it wasn't just a physical milestone, it was about defeating the voice inside me that tried to hold me back. The celebration was calm, a silent recognition of how important the journey was and the effort still needed. However, among the difficulties, there were moments of pure joy. Asking Sarah out for coffee and seeing her smile in agreement was one of those moments. It wasn't just a date, it was a step towards a future I was beginning to imagine, one where I was not defined by my weight but by the life I chose to live. As I reached the midpoint of my journey, I realized there were more obstacles waiting ahead. However, I also understood that I had changed since the beginning. I had become not only physically smaller but also mentally stronger. Although the future was uncertain, I felt more determined than ever. I was prepared for whatever challenges lay ahead, filled with hope and unwavering determination. The journey from losing 40 to 50 kilograms wasn't just about changing my body, it was about exploring my inner self and my aspirations. Every progress I made led to moments of self-reflection, as I started to address not only the physical challenges of losing weight but also the mental barriers that had controlled me for so long. Jamie's training sessions evolved from mere physical workouts to lessons in mental toughness. "It's all in your head, Mike," she'd say, pushing me to not only lift heavier weights but also to lift the mental burdens that weighed me down. Her approach was holistic, treating the mind and body as interconnected pieces of the same puzzle. Meanwhile, my friendship with Alex reached new depths. He was more than a workout buddy or a diet coach, he was a confidant, someone I could trust. Our conversations veered into topics beyond fitness, exploring dreams, fears, and aspirations. His unwavering support became a cornerstone of my journey, a reminder that true friendship lasts through life's changes. Sarah, who gently entered my life, became like a guiding star. Our relationship flourished with every shared coffee and conversation about books, life, and our personal challenges. She brought a sense of normalcy and balance to my life, offsetting the strict routine of my weight loss journey. However, as the numbers on the scale continued to decline, I faced an unforeseen challenge: my own reflection. The man staring back at me from the mirror was becoming a stranger. The physical changes, while celebrated, unearthed a sea of insecurities I hadn't anticipated. Questions of identity and self-worth surfaced, whispering doubts about my attractiveness and whether my efforts were merely a vain pursuit of acceptance. It was during this time of inner conflict that I faced one of the most challenging moments of my journey. An injury, which seemed small at the beginning, posed a risk to my advancement. A sprained ankle from a simple run turned into a sign of my weaknesses, both in body and mind. The forced rest was a trial in patience and resilience. It was a time to think, where the quietness of doing nothing felt more noticeable than the noise of the gym or the sound of my feet hitting the ground while running. In this stillness, I confronted my inner doubts with a clearer understanding. The voice that once tempted me with old habits now questioned my worthiness of the new life I was carving out for myself and if I truly deserved the positive changes I was making in my life. But in the darkest moments, the light of support shone the brightest and the help from my friends was most evident. Jamie adjusted my workouts to fit my injury, concentrating on exercises that didn't strain my body too much. Alex's jokes were like medicine, cheering me up when I felt down from the pain and annoyance. And Sarah, with her calm support, offered me a refuge from the difficulties, reminding me that there's more to life than just the scale and the gym. The road to recovery was a testament to the strength of the human spirit, a journey within a journey. As my ankle healed, so too did my perception of myself. I learned to see the scars and the changes not as imperfections but as marks of a battle fought and won. I began to view the scars and changes not as flaws but as reminders of a challenge I faced and conquered. Reaching the 50-kilogram milestone wasn't a big event with loud parties, but rather a calm moment to think about the struggles I faced and what I learned. It was a time to look inside myself and realize the inner strength that had carried me through the darkest days. This chapter of my journey was a turning point, a transition from the physical to the emotional, from the external to the internal. It was a reminder that true transformation transcends the physical realm, touching the very essence of who we are. As I looked ahead to the final leg of my journey, I was no longer the same person who had set out on this path. I was stronger, not just in body but in mind and spirit. The road ahead was still fraught with challenges, but I was ready to face them, armed with the lessons of the past and the support of those who had walked beside me every step of the way. As I approached the final stretch of my journey, the goal of losing 60 kilograms, which once seemed far away, now felt close and real. The scale, which had been both a challenge and a motivator, now whispered promises of victory. But with each step closer to my target, the weight of expectation grew heavier, mirroring the emotional and psychological load I had been carrying along with the physical weight. The gym, which used to feel scary and hard, had now become a safe place where I felt strong and tough. Jamie still pushed me hard to do my best, but now I could handle her tough workouts much better. Every time I lifted weights, did squats, or ran, it showed how much progress I'd made, not only in getting fit but also in being mentally strong. Alex, always there to help, started doing more than just working out with me. We did things together that I used to avoid, like hiking on tough trails, joining races in our community, and even planning a backpacking trip. These activities were not just for enjoyment but symbols of the barriers I had broken down, both physical and mental. Sarah's presence in my life had blossomed into a beautiful relationship that was about more than just mutual attraction. She was my confidant, my cheerleader, and at times, my reality check. With her, I found not just love but a partnership grounded in mutual respect and support. However, as the final 10 kilograms stood between me and my goal, a new kind of fear took hold. It was not the fear of failure that had haunted the early days of my journey but the fear of success. What would happen once I reached my goal? Who would I be without this quest that had defined me for so long? The return of old habits added to my existential worry. The closer I got to my goal, the harder it was to resist the urge to go back to my old eating habits and behaviors. It felt like my body and mind were teaming up to challenge whether the changes I had made were truly sustainable. The voice inside me, which I had managed to calm but not completely silence, started to find fresh ways to make me doubt myself. You'll only regain the weight, and questioning, what's the point? But I was not alone in this battle. Jamie introduced me to mindfulness and meditation, techniques that helped me confront my fears and anxieties head-on. Alex reminded me of the adventures that lay ahead, adventures that required a healthy, fit body and mind. And Sarah, with her unwavering faith in me, helped me see that my value went beyond the number on the scale. The last effort to lose the remaining 10 kilograms mirrored the entire journey, filled with highs and lows, victories and setbacks. Each kilogram lost was a hard-fought battle against physical inertia and mental resistance. Then, one fresh morning, I checked my weight and saw that it matched my target. The joy was beyond words, a mix of victory, relief, and a deep feeling of success. I had achieved it. I had reached my goal of shedding 60 kilograms in 5 months. But the journey did not end there. The celebration was brief, tempered by the realization that this was not just an endpoint but a new beginning. The real challenge lay ahead, maintaining this new lifestyle, this identity I had carved out for myself and the person I had become. As I reflected on the journey, I realized that the greatest transformation was not in my physical appearance, but in my perception of myself and my place in the world. I had learned that strength was not just a physical attribute, but a mental and emotional one. I had discovered the power of community, the importance of support, and the value of setting and pursuing goals. Nearing the finish line of my weight loss journey was not just about reaching a target weight, it was about crossing a threshold into a new way of living. It was a testament to the human spirit's capacity for change and resilience. And as I looked to the future, I knew that the lessons learned, the friendships forged, and the challenges overcome would guide me through whatever lay ahead. The journey was far from over, but I was ready to face it with a heart full of gratitude, a body full of strength, and a spirit undeterred. As I thought about what's to come, I understood that the things I've learned, the friends I've made, and the obstacles I've tackled would help me in the future. The journey wasn't finished yet, but I felt prepared to deal with whatever comes my way, grateful for everything, strong, and determined. Looking at myself in the mirror, the person staring back was both familiar and utterly new. I saw someone I recognized, but also someone completely different. The changes in my appearance were obvious, but what really changed were the things you couldn't see. Losing 60 kilograms didn't just change how I looked, it changed everything about my life. After reaching my goal, I didn't feel the same rush of excitement as before. Instead, I found myself thinking quietly about what had happened. Hitting my target weight wasn't the big victory I thought it would be. It felt more like finishing one part of my journey and starting another, but I wasn't sure what to expect next. The celebration of my achievement was a simple affair, surrounded by those who had been my pillars throughout this journey. Jamie, Alex, and Sarah each played a pivotal role in this transformation, offering strength, support, and love. Their pride in my achievement was obvious, but it was clear that they celebrated not just the weight loss but the emergence of the person I had become. In the days that followed, I started to realize what maintenance really meant. The specific goal that had kept me going was now gone, replaced by the broader aim of keeping up my new way of life. I still went to the gym, but now it wasn't just to reach a target, it was part of my routine. Eating healthily wasn't something I forced myself to do anymore, it just felt right. However, The greatest challenge lay in adjusting mentally and emotionally to this new situation. I was still concerned about reverting to my old habits, feeling as if my past might come back to haunt me. During these moments, mindfulness techniques and the support of my family and friends were incredibly important. They reminded me that the journey was not solely about losing weight but about reclaiming my life. The newfound confidence and strength that came with my physical transformation opened new doors. Sarah and I embarked on adventures that once seemed beyond my reach, from hiking in the mountains to exploring new cities on foot. The world seemed larger, filled with possibilities that were once obscured by physical limitations and lack of confidence. In my work life, the determination and strength I learned from losing weight helped me become more confident and ambitious. I started taking on projects I used to avoid, seeing them as chances to grow and learn. However, despite these good changes, I still had moments where I felt unsure about myself. Sometimes when I looked in the mirror, instead of seeing how far I'd come, I noticed the things I still didn't like about myself. It reminded me that this journey wasn't just about how I looked, but also about accepting and loving myself. As I navigated this new beginning, I realized that the end of my weight loss journey was not an end at all but a continuation. The habits formed, the lessons learned, and the relationships built were not just for the duration of the weight loss but for a lifetime. The final lesson of my journey was perhaps the most profound. Transformation is not a destination but a continuous process, a series of choices made every day. The weight I lost wasn't just about the number on the scale, it was also about letting go of things that held me back, the fears I had, and the limits I set for myself. When I thought about the future, it wasn't about how much I weighed, but about how I wanted to live my life. Going through this change showed me how to bounce back from tough times, to love myself, and to rely on others. It proved that change isn't just about your body, but also about how you feel inside and the way you think. As I stepped into this new chapter, I carried with me not just the memories of the journey but the lessons it had imparted. I was no longer Big Mike but just Mike, a man who had faced his fears, embraced change, and emerged not just lighter in body but enriched in spirit. This was not the end, but a new beginning, a life lived not in the shadow of the past, but in the light of the present, with an eye towards a bright and boundless future.